I've pulled a lot of things out of Winston's fur, but this is the first snail. It was right here.
Winston.
How did you get a snail?
What in the world?
Where did you go?
What are you doing? You silly boy.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
It's like, I thought it was just a seed pod.
Let's, which way do you want to go?
I don't care.
Okay, let's go this way then.
Sorry guys, this way.
Come on, pups, this way.
We changed our mind.
We're going this way today. Good morning, everybody.
Hi.
Today, we're going to talk about Winston. Mr. Winston boy.
Yeah.
Hey, Winnie boy. We're talking about you today, buddy. Yes, we are. We're talking about Winston. So.
First, we missed his birthday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We did miss his birthday. Like a month ago?
Yeah. It's crazy because I knew he was about a year old, but we didn't get any paperwork with him. And we're kind of guesstimating on what his age was. So when we agreed to purchase him, I was told he was weaned. That was the most information I got.
And what age is typically?
Typically to me, weaning can be either 8 weeks or 12 weeks.
Okay.
That's when at least they should be taken fully away from their mother, because they said that they were ready to go. So to me, you shouldn't do it any earlier than 8 weeks. 12 weeks is better.
Okay.
So doing that math, his birthday would have been about a month ago.
April.
Yep. About this time a month ago. Because we picked him up a couple months later because we wanted him to be a little bigger because he was our first livestock guardian dog. We didn't want him as a small puppy.
Right.
And we wanted him to train with mom and dad. So, happy year birthday, buddy.
Yeah. We'll have to do something special for him a little bit later. Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, but he actually could be just turning a year now. So it's sometime between April and May, but we'll just say April.
Okay. Like April 15th?
Yeah, let's just tax day. Why not?
That's 18th.
18th? Oh,
April
close
18th.
enough.
April 18th it is.
Tax day.
So, other news with Winston?
Yeah, go for it.
Couple episodes ago, I think it was last week, we told you that we took Winston in to the vet, and the next day we said everything checked out fine. Between those times, actually for the last week, we've been observing Winston, and he's just not quite been right. Like, he's been off.
He's not been fine.
Yeah, he's not been fine. And initially they thought that he was just, like, he needed his anal glands expressed and he had ear infection. And then 2 days later I called back and said, no, we're still not really seeing improvement. So they're, it's allergies. So they prescribed prednisone for allergies, and they said it's going to increase his appetite, increase his
drink,
his thirst. Yeah. And so he was on that for 2 or 3 days, and he just still was not getting better.
and he wasn't finishing his food.
Right. So new symptoms started arriving, where not finishing his food, diarrhea, and still pretty
Lethargic.
Thank you. So I called yesterday and set up an appointment for yesterday at the vet, and I demanded,
Blood
I said,
work.
another turtle.
Boy.
Let's get this guy out of here.
I'll hold him.
Okay. So
Sorry,
I said,
you're going on a
he's still not right. Something's wrong. Let's do blood work. This entire time, Katie has been saying, let's also test him
For Lyme.
Yeah, for Lyme's disease. So when we were at the vet yesterday, they ran a 4PX, I think it's called, 4-panel blood test, among other blood tests. And it tests for heartworm, Lyme's disease, and then one other tick-borne illness called, I forgot how to pronounce it already. It's called Ehrlichia
What?
Hold on, can you hold this while I get
Yeah.
this camera up to, or while I get search. Oh, I have no internet. Oh man, shoot. Okay, so it's spelled Ehrlichia. I think it's Ehrlichia or
It's something.
tick-borne illness, and he did test positive for that.
Not for Lyme's, but for the other one.
Right, Ehrlichia. So symptoms typically are lethargy, loss of appetite, weight loss, and he actually lost a pound between our vet appointments.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And so what we're doing now is he's going to be on 4 weeks of an antibiotic, starts with the letter D. Doxycycline, thank you. I had all this prepared. I'm like, how do I pronounce this? And he's also, and that's going to cause some stomach issues and stuff. So he's on a slurry to help with that, and then he's on some probiotics to help with the diarrhea. So they also are running a full panel a panel for the Ehrlichia that will test to see if he's just testing positive for the antibodies, meaning that maybe he got something from the tick, but it hasn't fully set in or hasn't set in yet, or if he really is actually what they consider clinical.
Yeah.
And so we'll get those results later today to find out where he's at baseline, I guess. And then after the 4 weeks of the doxycycline, we're going to run that panel again.
Yeah.
So we're very hopeful that we caught it soon enough to where he can fully recover.
Yeah.
Because this tick-borne illness is
not a good one.
No, it's not a good one. It's I don't want to say it.
If left untreated, it could be fatal. So, or if you don't catch it soon enough. And the hard thing with this one is a lot of dogs go asymptomatic. So you don't see any signs or symptoms, and sometimes they'll actually test negative when they're actually positive. But what it tells us is that, unfortunately, we have infected ticks in this area.
Right.
So, preventative measures, as much as we possibly can, we've always kept them up to date on flea and tick medicine.
Yes.
As you've probably seen, a couple episodes ago, we were getting ready to dose them again. We give them chewable tablets. We also have Seresto collars. We used those for a while, and we took them off when Winston lost his tooth.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if he had that tooth pulled out with heavy wrestling with him and Levi, so we took those collars off, but they've stayed on the chewables. They've
stayed on the chewables the entire time. So we have done the preventative. As you noticed yesterday, we do mow around the area and try to keep the grass short. However, we have 60 acres, and right now is a great example of
going through areas where the chickens aren't getting all the ticks, and it's part of farm dog life, right?
Right, and it's also, they do, even if we weren't walking them here today, they still come back here on their own. Right. And we're not going to completely fence them off into small, tiny little areas, but we're doing what we can to hopefully keep them from getting affected.
Yeah.
So it's just really one of those unfortunate things. And this tick is it's actually very prevalent in the Southwest and the Southeast. It's all over the U.S. and Canada. However, those two areas are the most predominant outbreaks, but it really came about, what was it in? It was one of the wars, one of the the dogs. So basically tracking dogs or farm dogs or dogs that, go through lots of areas are very susceptible to it.
Yeah. So speaking of preventative, today at 1 o'clock, I'm taking Kinsley in to have the same tests run on her. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we're taking Levi in to have the same tests, just to be safe.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue with the Seresto collars.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm going to make sure see if we can use both, or split it up, like use Seresto collars, whichever one is more effective, because we're in the heavy season. We're in the season where ticks are coming out. We had a crazy thunderstorm this morning, so it's very wet, which means it's probably very likely that there's a lot of ticks. We also do tick checks on them very regularly. We completely pet them down and feel on them every single day.
As well as ourselves.
We do that for ourselves.
We do that like every single night before bed. Check ourselves. So we're not just focused on the dogs. We're also focused on ourselves. We talked about maybe keeping like a bunch of guineas to get a wider range around the house for ticks, but still, it's going to be so impossible to cover
everything.
So it's all about that preventative.
Yeah, and we're trying to focus on our most common footprint, where the dogs are the most, where we are the most.
Yeah.
Keeping it mowed down. We do have, spray the Wondercide spray that we used last year. That seemed to work really well. We'll start using that again. We just have to wait till it's not going to rain for a little bit.
Right.
To do it so it's effective, but it's just very frustrating because we feel like we're doing a lot but they're so tiny little buggers.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm scared because I tend to look at the worst case scenario right away.
And I'm positive.
And she's positive, but I am really hopeful for Winston.
Yeah.
And we're being safe with Kinsley and Levi by having them tested and put on the doxycycline, is that right?
Yeah.
If necessary.
Ooh.
Whoa. So.
Tree stump. Yeah, and Levi is showing absolutely no symptoms whatsoever. We're not really worried about him. However, like I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, a lot of that can be very normal with this. And now we know that there's at least one, if not multiple, infected ticks in this area.
Yeah.
So, in Kinsley, we don't know if she's just getting older, but she's been showing hip issues. So we've been, addressing that and looking, she's been to the vet several times trying to figure out. And again, she comes back completely healthy too. So we're just going to do this as just to be safe.
Yeah. So that's the big news today. So we will certainly keep you updated when we have information to share.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get the panel results back today for Winston.
Yeah.
And so we'll be able to update you tomorrow on what that looks like, and then actually be able to update you on how the blood work for Kinsley goes today. I can do that for you guys tomorrow. So.
Yeah. Feeding that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna walk the creek a little bit. It's flowing pretty heavy today because we had a huge rainstorm that came.
It was on top of us.
Yeah, it really was.
It was crazy. I haven't heard thunder that loud.
At the same time, like the lightning hits and the thunder cracks right away, and there's no delay. And
yeah, it was
very
intense.
Big. Yep. So you can see how muddy or unclear the water is.
The irises are blooming.
Yeah, aren't they pretty? I got my boots again. think it's funny how she just dips a little bit and then comes back up. All right, well, I guess a little catch up for yesterday. So yesterday was quite a bit surrounding Winston.
Yeah.
That took quite a bit of time. I didn't start on the French drain project like I thought I was going to, which is okay. I did work on another project that we have for a video that we need to do by Monday. And I'll continue that once I'm done with Kinsley's vet appointment. We're excited because we have a new way of cooling the RV during these hot and humid days, which are coming up here real soon.
Which has always been a struggle. Living in an RV for 3 years, you try to get really creative with how to stay cool in the summer. Everyone always says, oh, I wouldn't live in it in the winter. Winters are much more comfortable than the summers.
Because you can layer up.
Yep. You can only take off so much in the summer.
Put a space heater on and layer up and you're fine.
Yep.
It's cold, but it's fine.
Yep.
In the summer, you're like, you're just sweating and hot and humid.
It's when it's nicer outside than it is in the RV.
Right.
You know it's hot.
Yeah, so we're excited about that little project. So that's what's going to be today is more vet appointments, working on that project, and then I have 2 videos to edit tonight. So I'm hoping to get those done.
Yep. And then
What about you?
I've got a very busy day today.
Okay.
Very full day with lots of meetings.
Typical.
Yep. Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays are my 3 busiest days at work. So.
All right. Well, we'll do a little walk back, and they can turn off when they want to.
Yep.
So we'll see you tomorrow. We'll give you updates on Winston and Kinsley.
And Levi.
Levi will
soon.
be coming soon. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So keep them in your prayers, and we'll see you tomorrow.